Hello and thanks for watching Best Maths Tutors. I'm continuing to go through the higher tier paper from 2019 from Edexcel. This is question 20. If you'd like to see any more of these videos, just click the button at the bottom to subscribe to our channel. So question 20 is about solving quadratic simultaneous equations. So we can see that we've got two equations here, and the first one, this one, is actually a quadratic equation. And this one is a linear equation. So this is the usual pattern of these types of questions. And the reason we know the top one is a quadratic is because it's got squares in it. So I've got x squared minus 4y squared. Whereas the linear one, it's still got x's and y's, but they're not to any particular power. So the standard method for these is to use substitution to solve these simultaneous equations. And so I've got our first equation. I'm just going to label these just so we know what we're talking about here. And we're going to take the second equation and make x the subject of it, and then substitute that second equation into the first equation. So first of all, I can just take the 4y off both sides. So I'd end up with 3x is equal to 7 minus 4y. And then what I can do is I can then just divide both sides of this equation by 3, and the 3's will cancel, and that will give me that x is equal to 7 minus 4y over 3. So now we've got x as the subject of this equation, this rearrangement of equation 2, and we're going to substitute it into equation 1. So first thing I'm going to do though, before I do that, is we can see we've got x squared here. I'm just going to work out what x squared is. So x squared is going to equal, just squaring the right hand side of this, so it's going to equal 7 minus 4y squared over 3 squared. So that's squaring both parts of that equation there. And if we square the top line, then that's actually 2 brackets of 7 minus 4y. So 7 minus 4y, write it twice, that's what the square would mean. So I'm just going to look at this bit first. So we can see 7 times 7 would give us 49. And then we've got 7 times minus 4y. So 7 times 4 is 28, so that's minus 28y. And then we can do 4y times, or minus 4y times 7. So that's again another take away 28y, and then we've got negative 4y times negative 4y. So because we've got a negative times a negative, that actually gives us a positive, and it's going to be 4y times 4y. 4 fours is 16, and it's 16y squared, because the y times the y gives us y squared. And if I tidy that bit up, I'm going to get 49 minus, and then minus 28y minus another 28y. It's going to give us minus 56y, and then that's plus 16y squared. I'm just going to look at the bottom part. That's much simpler. So that's just 3 squared. So 3 squared is 9. So there we go. So that's what the x squared is. X squared is this 49 minus 56y plus 16y squared. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put this, so this is what we've got for x squared. We're going to replace x squared here in equation 1. So it's going to involve quite a lot of algebra. So it's really important to try and remain accurate when you're doing this. And so we end up with the 49 minus 56y plus 16y squared. That's all going to be over 9. And then we've got the minus 4y squared equals 9. So what we're going to end up with is a quadratic equation in y. And the next step really is to multiply through by the 9 there. If I multiply both sides of this equation by 9, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have 9 times that. Well, that's going to cancel with the 9 on the bottom. But I'm also going to have to multiply the 4y squared by 9 and also the 9 by 9. So what I'm going to end up is 49 minus 56y plus 16y squared, and then 9 times 4y squared is going to be minus 36y squared, and then 9 times 9 is 81. So I'm just going to tidy all this up a little bit. I'm going to take the 81 over to the other side, so I'm going to take away 81 from both sides. That's actually going to give me, so minus 81 there, minus 81 there, making sure I'm taking away numbers from numbers, so not away from the actual y parts, so just from the 49 there, and that's going to give me minus 32, and then we've got minus 56y, and then if I take away 36y squared from 16y squared, then I'm going to get minus 20y squared. And what I've done is, on the right hand side of the equals, that's now equal to 0, which is actually what we want, because when we're solving quadratics, we always make them equal to 0. And our only problem really here is we want the coefficient, which means the number multiplying the y squared, to be a positive one. So I could just multiply everything on both sides by -1, as long as I do the same thing to both sides, times by -1. But if I times 0 by -1, that's still going to be 0. And every one of these terms now is going to become positive. So I'm going to get 20y squared. I'm just changing the order of which I'm writing these because it's more common to write them where the highest power is the first one you write it. So that's now a quadratic, and we can make that simpler by, we can see that 4 will divide into every part of this, and if we can do something like that, we want to, because we want to make it as simple as we can. So if we divide every bit by 4, we're going to get 20 divided by 4 gives us 5y squared, and then 56 divided by 4 will give us 14y, and then 32 divided by 4 will give us 8. So that's the quadratic equation that we need to solve there in its simplest form. Now, there's a couple of ways we could solve this actually, and since it's a calculator paper, we can use the calculator. I'm going to do it both ways. I'm going to show you how to do it algebraically and how to use the calculator to do it as well to get the values. So if you want to skip past any from this point just to the calculator bit, then that's fine. But I'm going to go through solving this this quadratic that we have here, and then I'll show you how to do it on the calculator immediately afterwards. So from this point, we need to try and get this into 2 brackets. So there's a couple of methods for doing this. One is just a sort of trial and error method, and but I'm going to use one which is called, really I'd call it the AC method, because we can call the value in front of the y squared the A, value in front of the y is B, and value in front of the number at the end is a C. So in other words, we've got a general expression is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So we can see this is a bit like that, only the only difference being we've got y's instead of x's. And what we do, we try and find a product which is going to be 5 times 8, so product of 40, and so that's the a times the c, and then we take the middle number and we're looking for a sum which would give us 14. So that's just the b part. And what we're doing is we're looking for 2 numbers which will multiply to give us 40 and which will add to give us 14. So you can do a little bit of trial and error for this, but hopefully you can see that if we have 10 and 4, well, 10 times 4 would equal 40. And also 10 plus 4 would equal 14. So we was looking for two numbers which made a product of 40 and had a sum of 14. So what we then do is we then split the middle number, which is 14 here, into the 10 and the 4. So I'm going to just do that. I'm going to write it as 5y squared plus, now instead of the 14, we can say it's 10y plus 4y. We can see it's still the same equation because the 10 plus the 4 would still give us 14. And then plus 8 equals 0. And we can see we can try and split this up now into two halves. So if we factorise the first half of this, then what we get is we can take out 5y, and that would mean that we need to have y plus 2 in a bracket if we factorise the first half of this equation. And then the second half, we could actually take out positive 4. So we can say positive 4 in front of the bracket, and then we'd have y plus 2 inside the bracket. And now what we do, we form another bracket out of the first terms of each part. So we get 5y plus 4, and the second bracket is y plus 2. And so we've actually factorised this expression here, or this equation here, into two brackets. And so if you're familiar with solving quadratic equations, then the value that we're looking for is the value that would make either the first bracket equal 0 or the second bracket equal 0. So if we look at the first bracket, 5y plus 4 equals 0, and the value that we could get, we could just solve that. We could say 5y equals negative 4 by taking away 4 from both sides, and then it would follow from that if we divide both sides by 5, we get y is equal to minus 4/5. So that's one solution, and then the other solution is from the second bracket. So that would be y plus 2 equals 0, and so that would give me y equals negative 2. So there are two solutions. Okay, so I'm also now going to show you how to do this using a calculator. So these were the values that we got. Y is minus 4/5 and y is minus 2 when we solve this quadratic here. We solve this one algebraically. So I'm just going to show you what we would get, how we could solve it using a calculator as well, because this is calculator paper. And this is the Casio Classwitz Whiz calculator, which we're allowed to use and is actually recommended for GCSE. So what we would do, we'd have this menu, and we need to go into our menu here by pressing the menu button, and we need to go to the right settings. So we can scroll through these, and so there we go, and we can actually see, if I keep going, that the one A there under that tab A, should put another one, is the equation function button. So we can get that either by selecting it now, or in fact we could have just pressed, if we see the writing in A above that minus key, then that would select the equation function mode. So we're going to that. We've got two options then. We've got either solving simultaneous equations or polynomials. We're going to polynomial solution because that's what a quadratic is. A quadratic is a type of polynomial. Then we're asked, then what's the degree of the polynomial? So the degree is the power that's on the y there. So on our variable, it could be an x or it could be a y. In this case, it's a y, and we can see the degree of our polynomial. The degree is actually 2 because it's a squared. So we select 2 there, And then what we would do is we need to then import the values for A, B, and C, which in our case, A is 5, B is 14, and C is 8. So we input 5, and to import that, we just press equals. So I've got 5x squared. Then we go 14 and equals again, and then 8 equals again. So we've set up our quadratic, and it assumes it's equal to 0 when we're doing that. Press equals, and it gives us the first one of our solutions, which is -4/5. And if we press equals again, we get the second one of our solutions, which is -2. So that's how we would use a calculator in order to solve this. So having got these values, we've not actually finished this question yet. We still need to find the value of x. So we would get actually two solutions. We get one solution, which is actually substituting the value of x, y being -4/5. That will give you a value of x. And we get another solution when we substitute in the value of y equals -2. To replace the y in the equation there, and that will give you our second value of x. So first of all, I'm going to put in the value of y being -4/5. So we've got x for y equals -4/5. We get that x is the 7, and then it's -4, and we're going to be times in -4/5. So replacing the y by the value that it is, and it's all over 3. So because we're on a calculator paper, I'm going to just input that again into our calculator. So we need to go to the correct mode for this. So this one is actually just press setup or menu and go for 1, and that's just the basic calculation mode. And what we've got is, this is a fraction we're trying to work out. We've got 7 minus 4 times, and I'm going to make another, actually use a bracket here. Oops, that's the wrong one. Open up a bracket, and I'm going to put in my fraction. So I'm going to say -4 on the top. I'm going to use these navigation keys. So to go to the bottom of the fraction, I press the down one. And so we've got 5 at the bottom. And then I'm just going to close my bracket. And now I'm going to go into the bottom of the overall fraction. I'm going to write 3 in there. And that's set this up. And if I press the equals, it gives me the value of x for that one. So 17/5. And equally, we've got another one now. So that's one pair of solutions there. And the second pair of solutions are, this time it's for y equals -2. So a bit nicer numbers on this one. And we've got x is 7 minus, and then 4 times -2 over 3. And again, I'm just going to use the calculator to solve that. And so let's just move that over here. So we'll just clear that and put another fraction in. So we've got 7 minus 4 times, I'll just put in a bracket so we can see where we're substituting in. So -2 or -2, and then go into the bottom of the fraction, so 3, and then the overall value for that is 5. So that equals 5. And these are our two solutions, but what we need to do is we need to very clearly link them. It's not good enough just to sort of have say various solutions floating around. Y is 2, x is 17.5, and not connect them together. So what I could do is I can give them as pairs of solutions. So I could actually write them as a coordinate, is a good way of showing it. So we could say one solution is 1705 and then minus 4/5. And the other solution is that x is 5 and y is -2. So if we want to be careful, we could just write x is that, y is that above them, just to make it clear that that's what we're meaning in our solution. So I hope that's been helpful to you. If it has, please like our video and subscribe to our channel, Best Maths Tutors, and also for more help, visit our website, which is bestmathtutors.co.uk. Thanks for watching.